everyone. Welcome back to Talk Emma.
Hi, everyone. It's great to see you again.
My name is Emma.
And my name is Jack.
We make videos to help you speak English in daily life.
Yes, we want English to feel easy and natural for you.
If you enjoy our videos, please like this video.
And don't forget to subscribe to our channel. It really helps us a lot.
Today, we will talk about something very useful in English.
Yes, today we will learn how to use was and were.
We will practice listening.
We will also learn simple and useful sentences.
And we will have a friendly conversation together.
That sounds fun. Are you ready to start?
Great! Let's begin. Emma, how was your day today?
My day was very busy. I had many things to do.
My day was calm. I stayed at home most of the day.
I noticed you said was. Yes, I said my day was calm.
I also said I was busy.
Oh, I see. So today we're learning about was and were.
Exactly. Many English learners feel confused about them.
Yes, sometimes I also feel confused when I use them.
Don't worry. Today we will learn step by step.
That sounds helpful.
First, let's understand something important.
What is that?
Was and were are the past forms of am, is, and are.
So they talk about the past.
Yes, the past means before now.
For example, yesterday or last week.
Exactly. We use them for things that already happened.
That makes sense.
Let's look at some simple examples.
Okay, I'm ready.
Today, I am tired. Yesterday, I was tired.
Today, she is happy. Yesterday, she was happy.
Today, they are busy. Yesterday, they were busy.
So am and is change to was, and are changes to were.
Yes, that's a good way to remember it.
That makes it easier.
Now, let's talk about was first.
When do we use was?
We use was with I, he, she, and it.
So I can say I was sleepy.
Yes, that is correct.
I can also say she was late.
Perfect example.
Another example is he was at work.
Very good.
What about it?
You can say, it was cold yesterday.
That sounds clear.
Let's practice with more sentences.
Good idea.
Yesterday, I was at home.
Yesterday, I was very hungry.
Last night, she was tired.
This morning, he was in the kitchen.
The movie was very interesting.
The food was delicious.
Now, let's talk about were.
When do we use were?
We use were with you, we, and they.
Even when we talk to one person?
Yes, even with one person, we always say you were.
English can be funny sometimes.
Let's practice some examples.
Okay.
You were busy yesterday.
We were at the park last weekend.
They were very friendly.
You were right.
We were tired after work.
They were late for class.
We were happy together.
Yes, we still are happy today.
Now, let's learn how to make questions.
Sometimes questions feel difficult.
Don't worry, it is simple.
What should we do?
We move the verb to the beginning of the sentence.
Oh, that sounds easy.
For example, the statement is, you were tired.
The question becomes, were you tired?
Exactly.
Let's try more examples.
The statement is, she was happy.
The question is, was she happy?
Very good.
Another one, they were at home.
The question is, were they at home?
I understand now.
Here is another example.
Okay.
The statement is, I was late.
The question becomes, was I late?
Perfect. Now, let's learn how to give short answers.
Short answers are very useful in conversation.
If someone asks, were you tired?
I can answer, yes, I was.
Or you can say, no, I wasn't.
We don't say, yes, I were.
That's right. With I, we always use was.
English has many small rules.
Let's try more examples.
Sure.
Question, was she at home?
Answer, yes, she was.
Or, no, she wasn't.
Another question, were they busy?
The answer can be, yes, they were.
Or, no, they weren't.
Now, let's talk about negative sentences.
Negative means saying not.
Correct. Was not becomes wasn't, and were not becomes weren't. Here are some examples.
I'm-
I was not ready.
I wasn't ready.
She wasn't happy.
He wasn't at school.
It wasn't expensive.
We weren't late.
They weren't angry.
You weren't wrong.
We often use was and were to talk about feelings.
Yes, feelings in the past.
For example, I was happy yesterday.
Yesterday, I was excited about our video,
Last week, we were very busy.
but we were also proud of our work.
I was nervous yesterday before our video.
She was excited to start the lesson.
He was sad because he missed his bus.
We were surprised by the good news.
They were confused about the homework.
Were you scared during the movie last night?
I was a little scared, but it was fun.
Feelings are very common in English conversations.
Yes, people often talk about how they felt in the past.
For example, I say, I was tired almost every day.
We also use was and were to talk about places.
I was at work yesterday morning.
I was at home in the evening.
She was at school during the afternoon.
He was in the car when it started to rain.
We were at the restaurant last night.
They were in the park on Sunday.
Emma, where were you yesterday evening?
I was at home watching a movie.
That sounds like a good evening.
Now let's talk about something very important.
Are we going to talk about there was and there were?
Yes, because many English learners find them confusing.
I agree. They can be a little tricky at first.
There was means one thing.
There were means many things.
For example, there was a cat outside my house.
That means there was only one cat.
There were 3 cats outside my house.
That means there were many cats.
There was a problem at work yesterday.
There were many problems during the meeting.
There was a loud noise in the street last night.
There were many people at the party.
Excellent example. We also use was and were when we talk about our life.
Yes, they are very common when we tell stories.
For example, I was born in June.
I was born in 1995.
When I was a child, I was very shy.
When I was a child, I was very loud and energetic.
That is still true today.
We were classmates at university.
They were my neighbors when I lived in the city.
My teacher was very kind and helpful.
My first job was very difficult.
But it was also a good learning experience.
This is how we tell stories in English.
So many stories use was and were.
Yes, almost every story uses them. Now let's practice correcting mistakes.
That sounds helpful.
The sentence is, I tired.
The correct sentence is, I was tired.
Perfect. Now try this one. You was busy.
The correct sentence is, you were busy.
Excellent work.
I am learning quickly today.
Yes, you are doing very well.
Maybe it is because my teacher is very nice.
Jack, please focus on the lesson.
I am focused now, but earlier I was distracted.
Let's have a short, real conversation now.
Okay, that sounds fun.
Jack, where were you last night?
I was at home watching a movie.
Were you alone?
No, I wasn't alone. I was with you.
That's right. We watched the movie together.
Yes, we did.
Were you tired after the movie?
Yes, I was very tired.
Was the movie good?
Yes, it was very good.
Were the actors famous?
Yes, they were very famous actors.
This is how people speak real English.
And it feels much easier now.
That makes me very happy.
I was confused before.
And how do you feel now?
Now I feel confident.
That is our goal for every lesson. Now let's practice some common sentences.
These sentences are useful in real life.
Here is the first one. I was at home.
That means you stayed at home in the past.
Yes, exactly.
I can say, I was at work yesterday.
That sounds very natural.
Here's another sentence. I was late.
That means you were not on time.
For example, I was late for class.
You were also late for our date.
Yes, but I was very sorry.
And you were very cute.
Thank you, Emma.
Now listen to this sentence. She was tired.
That means she needed some rest.
Correct.
Another example is, he was hungry.
That means he wanted food.
Now, let's talk about feelings.
Here is a common sentence. I was happy.
That means you felt good in the past.
Yes, exactly.
Another example is, I was nervous.
That means you felt worried or a little scared.
I was nervous on our first.
I remember that moment. Now let's practice with were.
Okay, I'm ready.
The sentence is, we were busy.
That means we had many things to do.
Correct.
Another example is, they were friendly.
Friendly means kind and nice.
Here is a very useful sentence. You were right.
People like to hear that sentence.
Yes, everyone enjoys being correct.
Let's talk about places again.
Good idea.
She was at school yesterday.
That means she studied there.
Yes.
They were in the park.
They were probably walking or relaxing.
Parks are great places to relax.
Now, listen carefully to this sentence.
I'm listening.
There was a problem during the meeting yesterday.
That means one problem happened.
Yes, exactly.
But if there were many problems, we would say there were many problems.
Perfect explanation, Jack.
Thank you, Emma.
That means there was one problem in the past.
Yes, and if there were many people, we use were.
For example, there were many people at the party.
That means a lot of people were there.
So when we talk about many things, we use were.
And when we talk about one thing, we use was.
That is correct.
Emma, can I say there was a mistake?
Yes, that is a very common sentence.
People use that sentence when something goes wrong.
Here is another useful phrase. It was fun.
Fun means something was enjoyable.
For example, the party was fun.
Yes, I enjoyed that party a lot.
Here is another important sentence. It was difficult.
Difficult means something was not easy.
For example, English was difficult before.
But now English feels easier for me.
That is great to hear. Now let's talk about time.
Okay, I'm ready.
A common sentence is, I was early.
Early means before the correct time.
Yes, that is correct.
The opposite of early is late.
For example, we were late for the meeting.
Late means after the correct time.
Yes, exactly. Now let's talk about the weather.
Weather is a common topic in conversations.
For example, it was cold yesterday.
Cold means the temperature was low.
That's right.
Another example is, it was hot.
Hot means the temperature was high.
Summer days are often very hot.
Here is another natural sentence. I was born in May.
Born means the day you came into the world.
Yes, it talks about the beginning of your life.
For example, I was born in 1995.
That is a good sentence.
Many people use this sentence when they introduce themselves.
Now, listen to this sentence. When I was a child.
This sentence often starts a story.
Yes, people use it to talk about their past.
For example, when I was a child, I was very shy.
When I was a child, I was very loud and energetic.
I believe that is still true today.
Here is another common sentence. We were friends.
That means the people had a good relationship.
Yes, they liked each other and spent time together.
Another example is they were classmates.
Classmates are students in the same class.
Yes, they studied together at school or university.
Now let's practice some questions.
Questions help us talk with other people.
A common question is, was it good?
This question asks about something in the past.
Yes, exactly.
Another question is, were you tired?
This question asks about a person's feeling.
Here is another one. Was she okay?
That is a caring question about someone's health or feelings.
Another example is, were they ready?
Ready means prepared for something.
People ask this before starting an activity.
Now let's practice short answers.
Short answers make conversations faster and easier.
If someone asks, were you tired?
I can answer, yes, I was.
That answers a was question.
Yes, and another answer is, no, we weren't.
That answers a were question.
Yes, that is correct.
Now let's look at negative sentences.
Negative sentences include the word not.
For example, I wasn't sure.
Sure means certain or confident.
Another example is he wasn't there.
There means in that place.
Yes, exactly.
Another sentence is they weren't angry.
Angry means mad or upset.
That is a useful word to know.
Here is a very polite sentence. It was nice to meet you.
People say this after meeting someone for the first.
Yes, it is friendly and respectful.
Can I say, it was nice to see you?
Yes, that is also perfect.
People often say it when they say goodbye.
Here is another useful sentence. It was my fault.
Fault means mistake or responsibility.
Yes, it shows honesty.
For example, it was my fault because I was late.
That is honest and clear communication.
These phrases help people talk about the past easily.
Do you feel more confident now?
Yes, I feel much more confident.
That makes me very happy.
Jack, you were a great teacher today.
Thank you, Jack.
And you were a great student today.
Now let's review some important words with was and were.
That is a good idea.
Many people say there was.
Yes, that means one thing existed in the past.
For example, there was a cafe on the street.
That means maybe the cafe is not there now.
Exactly.
What about there were?
We use there were for many things.
For example, there were many students in the class.
Yes, because there were many students. Another important word is born.
Born means the day you came into the world.
For example, I was born in April.
I was born in 1998.
Those are correct sentences. Many people say, when I was a child.
Yes, people use this to talk about their past.
For example, when I was a child, I was shy.
When I was a child, I was loud and playful.
That sounds very funny. Now let's talk about the word there.
What does there mean in the sentence, I was there?
There means in that place.
For example, I was there last night.
Yes, it shows a location.
What about the word here?
Here means this place.
For example, I was here earlier today.
So here and there show different places.
Yes, they help us explain location clearly.
Many people say, I was tired.
That sentence is very common in English.
Tired means you need rest or sleep.
People often say this after a long day.
Yes, for example, I was tired after work.
I was tired after studying all night.
I was tired after work yesterday.
Me too, Emma. I was very tired after my long day.
Jack, what does excited mean?
Excited means very happy and full of energy.
For example, I was excited about our trip last month.
I was excited too, but I was also a little nervous.
Nervous means you feel worried or a little scared.
For example, I was nervous before my test.
I remember that feeling.
I was also nervous on our first date.
Yes, I remember that day very well. Many people say, I was ready.
Ready means prepared for something.
For example, I was ready to leave the house.
But sometimes people are not prepared.
Yes, then we say, I wasn't ready.
That sentence is very useful in daily life.
Jack, what does right mean in you were right?
Right means correct.
For example, you were right about the answer.
I like that sentence very much.
Me too, because everyone likes to be correct.
The opposite word is wrong.
Wrong means not correct.
For example, I was wrong about the time.
Sometimes it is difficult to say that.
Yes, but it is honest.
I often hear the word alone.
Alone means no other people are with you.
For example, I was alone at home yesterday evening.
But being alone is not always bad.
Yes, because you can relax and think quietly. But sometimes people feel lonely.
Lonely means you feel sad because you are alone.
For example, I was lonely before we met. That is a little sad.
But not anymore.
Yes, now we talk and work together. Another common word is busy.
Busy means you have many things to do.
For example, we were busy last week.
Yes, we were very busy with work.
The opposite of busy is free.
Free means you have no work and no plans.
For example, I was free on Sunday.
I enjoy days when I'm.
People often use the words late and early.
Late means after the correct time.
For example, I was late for work yesterday.
That sometimes happens to me too.
Early means before the correct time.
For example, I was early today.
That is very good.
Being early is better than being late.
I also hear the word okay very often.
Okay means fine or not bad.
For example, I was okay after the test.
That means you felt normal.
Yes, not great, but not bad.
Exactly.
Jack, what does ready mean again?
Ready means prepared to start something.
For example, we were ready to begin the lesson.
That is a good example.
Now tell me about the word sure.
Sure means certain or confident.
For example, I was sure about my answer.
But sometimes people are not confident.
Yes, then we say, I wasn't sure.
That sentence is very useful in real conversations.
All these words help people talk about the past.
Yes, they help us explain feelings and situations clearly.
I feel calmer about was and were now.
That is great to hear.
Learning English should feel calm and friendly.
Yes, just like our conversations.
Exactly. Wow, we talked a lot about was and were today.
Yes, we really did.
You also did a very good job practicing.
At the beginning, I was confused.
And how do you feel now?
Now I feel much more confident.
That makes me very happy.
Today, I learned how to talk about the past.
Yes, you learned how to talk about where you were.
I also learned how to talk about my feelings.
You practiced sentences.
I practiced questions.
You also practiced negative sentences.
And I made some mistakes.
That is completely okay.
Yes, mistakes help people learn.
I wasn't afraid to speak today.
Learning English should feel safe and comfortable.
Let's remember the main idea of today's lesson.
We use was with I, he, she, and it.
And we use were with you, we, and they.
That rule is very important.
I really liked the life story examples.
Me too, because English is for real life.
When I was a child, English was scary for me.
But now English feels friendly.
That is the reason we make Talk Ema videos.
We want to help you speak English every day.
A little English practice every day is enough.
Yes, small steps create big progress.
Now it is time for our question of the day.
Here's the question.
Where were you yesterday?
You can answer very simply.
For example, you can say, I was at home.
Or you can say, I was at work.
You can also say, I was with my family.
Write your answer in the comments.
We love reading your sentences.
Yes, we read many of them together.
Thank you for spending time with us today.
Thank you for learning English with us.
You were wonderful students today.
Yes, you were brave and hardworking.
If you liked this lesson, please like the video.
And subscribe to Talk Ema.
It helps us make more videos for you.
And it makes us very happy.
Take care and keep practicing your English.
We will see you next time.
Thank you for watching Talk Ema.
Goodbye for now.
Bye, everyone.